Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on a Thursday afternoon. This is the second installment of the Blah Poetry Spot Presents Words and Shit, where every week we bring you an intimate performance and interview with a poet. This is to help get so that you guys get to know the person behind the poetry. I'm so excited for tonight's event. So again, I'm very excited. My name is Chibbi. I'm here to help host this event and guide us along, but we have a special guest host coming to you this week, all the way from the south side of San Antonio. Dominique is joining us. Dominique, where you at? How you doing?
Hi.
Hey, hey, hey. So Dominique, you are looking mighty fierce today, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's looking fine. So why don't you take it off and introduce our poet? What we're going to do is let our featured poet this week do a segment of poetry, and then we'll get into the conversation and have some fun tonight, shall we?
Yes. Okay, so many of you may know her as Vocab, but Andrea Vocab Sanderson is a San Antonio native. She is the co-host of Second Verses Open Mic and serves as the writer and community for Gemini Inc. She's the winner of the 2019 People's Choice Award, awarded by the Luminaria Artist Foundation, formerly known as the Artist Foundation of San Antonio. Her debut book, entitled She Lives in Music, published on Flower Song Press, was released on Valentine's Day this year. And her album, She Tastes Like Music, is available on all streaming platforms. Vocab is the first African-American poet laureate of San Antonio and will be serving the city from 2020 all the way till 2022. In conclusion, she would like for all the G's to remain up and uppercase. Y'all give it up for Miss Vocab.
210 G's up, never freeze up.
We don't ever freeze up. I don't know when I'm in this thing. Am I in this thing? Start.
We can hear you. We can't see you. There you go.
Boom. Start video.
Ooh, she on the beach.
Damn. All right. Living that island paradise.
Tropical Irie vibes, man. Greetings from the northwest side of San Antonio.
All right, we're gonna bounce out of here, Vocab. You do your thing. Give us a few poems. Do your set. We're excited to hear your work. Go for it.
Cool. How long is my set? Should I just do 4 poems and call it a day?
Yeah, whatever you feel like. 3 to 5 poems, 15,
Okay.
20 minutes.
Cool. Thank you. So thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I'm sure you've been thanked by our hosts. I heard them. Thank you. But I also want to add in that Dominique co-edited my book. She didn't throw that in there. She should have just inserted that into the bio. I'm one of those people, when I'm reading people's bios, I insert whatever the heck I want to say into their bio. I don't care what they wrote. So, but thank you so much, Dominique. You've been such a sweet, gentle, sweet, helpful, angelic presence in my life. And Chibbi, you have been more than, I'm so happy we're friends still. I remember meeting you years ago and just falling in love with your personality. And now I've had a chance to fall in love with your work as well, because you are dynamic and charismatic, and you have such a beautiful platform that you take and champion lots of rights. So your hosts in and of themselves are forced to be reckoned with. And then, it's cool that they here, I'm trying to adjust my light, even though it's kind of weird to see a light shine on me, but it's like tropical vibes coming in, I tried to add some more ambiance and lights and things. I want to start off with reading one of my National Poetry Month poems that I wrote. It's so brief. It's only a few lines. I came up with a prompt called Mountains I Faced. And so this is the poem that I wrote for Mountains I Faced. It started with a mustard seed, spoken at the jagged cliff of what seemed insurmountable obstacles. when I realized if I could climb the incline, then I could command the rocks to be cast into the sea. We're facing so many hard times right now, and we need a lot of faith just to make it through these times. But I want to encourage you to speak to the mountains in your life and tell them to move out of your way, because you have purpose. Anybody who feels like they're on the edge of giving up, or they just are losing their will, they want connection. This community is here for you. Poets are here for you. I'm definitely here if I can offer a listening ear, and try to find a way to express yourself, even confound in the space, in the limited space that you have. Find a way to get some expressions out of you, and watch art move, watch art make room for itself in your life. I'm going to start out with a piece that's it's actually a little heavy, and it's crazy because I just opened my book and it went straight to the page of the poem. So as it was said, my first book that just came out in February, She Lives in Music. Really, really happy that I was able to get this book done and get published. Such an honor. So, and the story of how it all happened is kind of crazy, and very much I know that it was divinely orchestrated in my life. I believe in the power of God, and Jesus has just really opened a lot of doors for me. And I know everybody doesn't profess that faith, but I'm just letting you know that's like my center. I come from a place of love. So this first poem is called The Opiate. I wrote it because it's about loneliness. And I felt it was fitting to start with this piece because we all use our coping mechanisms to deal with our loneliness. And so this poem is about how people use their coping mechanisms to deal with all the things that they're dealing with, you know. That didn't make any sense. They use coping mechanisms to deal with their loneliness and just issues that they're going with in their life. So the opiate, that's why I get for talking too much. She sips lonely like it's freshly brewed, never stirs in sugar cubes, vapors rising from percolating emotions and steeping memories. She drinks this cup empty, friendliness seeping from her laugh lines, smile sinking into a steaming hot liquid of bitterness and wrinkles. Her nose crinkles like soggy tea bags from the toil of trying to be kind, trying to unwind, trying to find segues for small talk. She just stalks around, strained like sap. She wants to relax, but she spews words haphazardly. Her personality doesn't shine like it used to. Thirstily, she keeps sipping cup after cup of this bland brew, waiting for a robust flavor to burst through, with the desire to pour out like the spout of a boiling kettle, but simply not remembering how to. And he breathes despair like it's filtered shorts, chokes on carcinogens at the thought of divorce, dispersing ringlets of sorrow from puckered lips, clouding the air with remorse. He wants to kiss the buttered lips of his wife. He wishes she would interrupt with each puff, but strife has built into the silence. Life has knelt into the silence. Nowadays, silence. Yeah, that's the only thing that escapes her eyelids. No sparks strike with the matches that gather in the ashtray. He's running out of words to say, running out to buy yet another pack to smoke away his breath. He fears and inhales. Nothing is left. With the last drag exhaled and the cigarette laid to rest, a cancerous path to his grave is paved in cherry embers and gray ashes. And she bleeds love like it's fiercely cut, razor to the fragile flesh, wrist dangling up. Her arms drip out the bloodied sound. Her words will never speak. She slashes to get in touch with reality, but only feels the fluid from her body leak. Self-loathing crashes into her memories. She weeps suicide like it's an idle prayer from her sacred eyes. Hallelujahs dripping scarlet onto her naked thighs. Limbs, they are juxtaposed like a marionette doll, waving goodbye. But she she will never cry. He laughs, lonely, jokes, freely cracked, scrambled, and fried. His feathers are puffed with pride. He clucks, mouth agape, head tilted back, like a hen hatching heavy chuckles from an even heavier heart. Finishes first impressions with a false start, 'cause he's a rooster crowing irony and puns into every one of his punchlines. He pecks away at people with cynicism and insults that leave his truths undefined. Cold shoulders and snap judgments polish his humor refined. Smearing yellow yolks, he plays the dirty dozens to pass the time. You will always find him stepping on those same eggshells that blow up in his space like landmines. So that's that piece, super heavy. And some things, they don't have a happy ending, and that piece doesn't have a happy ending for any of those people. And I wrote it just to show that, you know, some people are sometimes stuck in their cycle of kind of hurting themselves. In the effort to try to get close to people, sometimes we, or in the effort of just trying to cope, have our coping mechanisms of dealing with our sadness and our loneliness, we alienate people further. And it's unfortunate. And I guess the point of that poem is, you know, showing how people alienate themselves with their coping mechanisms instead of trying to reach out past them. I'd like to give you guys an identity piece about myself. Whenever I get to do the Bad Mama Jamma remix, which is my theater production, I will do this piece again, but I want to do it for you now. It's called I Am the Remix. Music is such a big part of my life, and I realize that a lot of my pieces, so many of my poems have metaphor of music involved in them somehow. And even if they don't, they have like this rhythmic flow to them and cadence to them that make you think of music. And so my father is a DJ. My father was also a sound engineer. So music has always been such a huge part of my life. And this is I Am the Remix. I am the remix. I am the remix. I am the remix. I am the version that my ancestors alluded to in the original. Soul-stirring vocal track stemming into my DNA, my bloodline was mixed and mastered this way. The echoes of my parents panning left to right, transplanting from mono to stereo sounds put together. I am vinyl, being gripped from the catalog before being laid down, then flipped on its side to begin the instant replay, because it sounded so good, you had to run it back. Mama, I carry the reverb of every word you'd pray in my southern tone. Like a Mahalia Jackson solo, I hijacked your smile, hid it underneath my cheeks. But I am big bone like my grandma Jewel on my daddy's side. Her pigment and posture poised over me, and I'll wear it like an album sleeve of pride. This artwork cover is glossy and fly, y'all. I've enclosed a bona fide discography. I hold my father's passion for music, and it's swirling into my ebony calligraphy. He went crate digging with Miss Elizabeth Laverne back in 1981. Love was so cool back then that its sly and the family stone slid its way into their soundtrack to produce me at the dawn of the millennial generation. So I flow, alternating hits from analog to digital drop. I am a sample ripped from my parents' masterpiece, chopped into audio clips from Roberta Flack to the last poet spoken in native tongues. Can you hear the hand stroke on the drum? I am so Afro blue, part of you. I am the remix. I am the remix. I am the remix. I have become an anthem, a downloadable, edible melody. I am a whirlwind of womanhood concealing a clandestine mystery. The matriarchs tasted a sampler of sound bites to create me, heavenly as manna from their mouth, but foreign tongues trip over the hip-hop tempo. They are lost in the loop of 8 tracks and downbeat rhythms, stumbling over the syncopation of my flow. I've been flipped over like a cassette. My hidden gems have yet to be discovered. discovered, speed it up a hair, cross faith and find a new instrumental, mix me with it like a dope dance track being born on the turntables. My meter is smooth and smothered in soul. The Bantu and the Shango know. So I have elevated through the ancestry, laced with the beat of the bongos. I am the fables that ancient orators spoke of centuries ago, timeless as golden oldies and Negro spirituals. My jeans swing a Lindy Hop, phonograph the ragtime in my spine, crank up the bebop in my hips a notch. I am a jazzy lass with a splash of uncensored lyrics leaking out from my lips. Every part of my anatomy is stamped explicit. I am the remix. Can you hear it? Hear me roar from the ceiling to the floor. Let my version pour out the speakers, thumping and giving you something so fresh, so real. I am the version of the original with mass appeal. I am the remix. I am the remix. I am the remix. So I'm going to do 2 more pieces for you guys and then open it up for just you guys to talk to me some. I'm going to do one of my pieces. It's super short from this National Poetry Month. So I have a group online called Invite to Write, which we'll talk about more in the interview segment, perhaps. But I want to let you all know that it's an online Facebook group and you're open to join. It's called Invite to Write Essay. There's an 18 and up group, and then there's a 17 and under group. So, wherever you fall into there. This piece, I renamed it Cycles. Originally, it was called Kiss Goodbye, but it's called Cycles. I will archive our last moments under the blood moon. I walked you to the laundromat knowing I would soon cycle you out. Sort through the mismatched garments of our incompatibility, finding all the reasons why we didn't coordinate. Over time, the wrinkle of disapproval began to etch worry lines into my forehead. The last place you kissed me before I said goodbye. That was about me breaking up with this guy on a blood moon back in 2015. All right. I like to break up sad moments with this a little bit of humor. I know you're probably like, wow, Vocab. Yeah. Sometimes you got to be gangster with it. Sometimes you're just not compatible with people, and you let relationships go. Let me see. What do I want to close with for you guys? I think that I don't want to give you any more heavy pieces. This piece was on my heart to do, but it's heavy, and so I don't want to do heavy for you guys. I will end with something else that's on my album. I'm going to do 4-wheel drive. And if there's more time later, I'll get back into it, but I doubt it. We'll just open up the floor for questions. Let's see. Moon aglow, halo, cloud-covered lover. You like the pathway, lead me to discover another melody. Midnight, summer breeze, I escape darkness into your delicate reach. Each time I ponder, let my thoughts saunter. You meet me at every intersection like GPS the way you encompass my direction. No more wandering, you pinpoint me to self-expression. On the expressway, a blazing meteorite en route to a session. Whiz by, a speeding zephyr. Spit something clever, tickle the ear like feathers, cadence to the measure, tethered to my tongue. Feel it on the 1, release it on the 2. By the 3, I'm elevated in the stellar rear view, started out on the interstate and I ended on the moon. Key in the ignition, put it in the drive. I know you'll be right there when I arrive. Something about this music keeps me alive. You are the muse like the fuse for the scribe. Whenever I'm zoning, I can keep flowing, I can keep going. Gaze deeper into the lens as the volume ascends. We attend the horizon. Let the orchestra of nature begin. Rend the silence from the firmament and climb the scales. See beauty prevails. Notes trail ride the tail of a comet. Cosmic rays chase the shade away. A ballet of light arabesque across the darkness. The artist digests the visage, recants the display, and you can say that the majesty speaks to the reality around, and you can hear the the masterpiece from the speakers bleeds sound, and the world goes down to slumber. That's when my mind begins to design the wonders, samples, musical flavors. And if you are what you eat, I'm such a tasty creator. I said, if you are what you eat, I'm such a tasty creator, innovator, originator, smooth operator, stage to the paper, ink drips, treasured thoughts from my lips. Yeah. 4 beats to the measure, 4 wheels to the ride. My soul applies pressure, 4-wheel drive. 4-1 to resolve it, 4-1 to arrive. Imperfectly evolved, 4-wheel drive. Yeah. We about to take off. Peace. Y'all can come back in now. Virtual claps.
That was Vocab, everybody. Yeah. Oh, I'm dope. Thank you for sharing both your poetry and your music with us, because that's absolutely, like, that's one of the things that makes you so amazing, is all the multifaceted ways that you express yourself and your craft. So, like,
thank you for
snaps.
Thank you. I'm clapping for you as you're snapping for me.
All right. So we got a lot that we want to talk, because you are a very esteemed person in our community, and have done so much over the years. Like you were saying earlier, we've known each other since, I think we met in 2008. So that's a good 12 years that we've known each other. And you've been a San Antonio native for
birth.
Tell us a little bit about that. Yeah, growing up in San Antonio, being here in San Antonio, like, what was young Vocab like?
Young Vocab was much like old Vocab. I grew up mostly from the 3rd grade on. I grew up on the northeast side of San Antonio, so same school, same district all the way through. But I was born on the, I guess, just the west side. It's whatever Wolfwood Hall is considered. Maybe it's considered the west side, but I'm a military brat. And like I said, my dad was a DJ, my mom was a preacher's kid. And so I have a very interesting upbringing as far as my 2 parents. They got married when they were like 17, 18 years old. They divorced by the time I was 13. And there was a lot to deal with, unpacking coming from a home with divorcees. A lot of kids, the parents go through divorce, right? But I threw myself into art to deal with a lot of the issues that I faced as a young person, just my spirituality, and trying to find a way to, like, bring things together, because I don't like keeping things separate. Obviously, I don't know how to do that very well. So I get very sad. Like, parts of me, like, whenever I'm at a poetry reading and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, but I want to sing. And I'm like, oh, what you got to do is just write poems with music in it, and then you can sing and you can do poetry. And then the way it satisfies the beast, because I'm sure you find yourself in that way, Chibbi, as being multifaceted. Like, you bring theater into your poetry, and being a part of the slam community has really helped you to be able to do that. And then, you're a fashionable individual as well, so you find ways to overlap all those things. We can't keep it separate, can we? We bring it all to the table, And so that's what I'm here to do, and I want to show, I guess, lead by example on how to do that. And so I started at a young age, just kind of being outgoing. I've always been a fat kid, so people made fun of me, and I got to the point where I was like, I can either let this break me, or I can just, get over it and deal with it. And it's not easy. It's not like I didn't cry and have my share of woe is me moments in this process of life, but people are not going to stop criticizing. So, you just give them something to look at. That's why I feel about. I'm giving you something to look at, since you want to make comments. Yeah. And formations.
So you mentioned that you were a military child, like I was as well. And in that vein, you move around a lot usually. Why did you decide to stay in San Antonio of all places?
Because nobody really does it. I decided, yeah, I know, right? I started working at Juvenile when I was like 20, 21 years old. And I was like, I'm going to stay here. I told myself that I would stay here as long as my mama was there, just to watch out for her. My mother just retired on March 31st, which is really great. So I can move on. I can move around now, but I've been there 17 and a half years. So I'm going to just finish my 20, what I'm going to do. But once I got there and I got vested, I was like, I'm here. I've got this job. It'll have me a little, retirement money. I started to supplement my income with doing artwork. And I was like, everybody leaves San Antonio, but no one stays here and makes it a point to cultivate this scene. And I said, I'm going to stay in my city. Yeah, mama retired. You're funny, Rooster.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to stay here and bring and help keep the city vital. Like everybody's like, keep San Antonio lame, like, or whatever. But I'm like, well, if what we do is lame, then so be it. Then I'm gonna bring all the lame to the table with art events and stuff, So that's me. I made a decision to stay here. I didn't want to leave.
So you talk about like you wanting to cultivate the city, and cultivate the arts, and we'll get to what you're doing to do that in a minute. But I'm curious to know, who was it that cultivated you? Who were your inspirations and your mentors, that brought you to where you're at?
One of them was Charles Peters. He used to run a poetry spot here called Free Verse Fridays. And when he's in a group that was called, oh Jesus, don't do this, Andrea. Don't do this. Okay, don't worry about it. But he's in a group. My brain went completely blank. But basically they got a record contract and they took off. Mojo Family Soul. God dog it. I can't believe my brain I've been having these moments where I blank out on stuff. But anyways, they got a record contract with Beyonce's daddy and them, and or Solange and them, somebody, all them. And they went off, and so somebody needed to take over the poetry spot. So myself, Glow, and this guy named Jeff Reggie, we took over Free Verse, and then Faye, she was like, I've been doing this for a while, I need to take a break from it. So we ended Free Verse Fridays, and we just kind of, there wasn't a poetry spot like a black, nighttime, like, because when you come to second verse, we all see it. It's kind of, if you ever come, audience, it's kind of like the club. It's like the club of poetry spots. You know what I'm saying? If you step in there, you're kind of like, oh, let me put on my cute outfit. Oh, let me make sure I practice my poem a few times so I can get up in front of this couple hundred people and bring it. Yeah, you don't want to step in there all whack. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's not to say that, but never mind. But just the point of, so he helped mentor me. I have some friends that probably would be shocked to know. I have a friend named Lawrence Scott and a friend named Brandon Graham, and I was in a rap group with them called LSC. And I just watched, Brandon was like, Lawrence was super charismatic dude. He was like, he went to St. Mary's University, and he was kind of over, like his graduating class, what is that, senior class president, like, and he was like over the dorms and all, like RA for the dorms. Dude is just involved in everything, kind of like a male version of me, but just doing the most all the time, and then he wanted to get into politics and he wanted to get into education. And I just watched how he moved through circles and navigated space, like being a black dude, East Side brother, I'm saying, going into these very white collegiate spaces and carving a space for himself, making a name for himself, people like that. And growing up in the church I grew up in, that helped to make me who I am.
Well, you mentioned how, being Black is important in these spaces, and not just is important, it's a part of what people see in you.
Right.
And
like, I'm Black, that's the first thing you notice.
Yeah, it's one of the first things,
And it's bringing representation to it in different art forms.
Yes. So with that, you, as I mentioned in your bio, you are not only the first Black woman, you are the first African-American, period, poet laureate of San Antonio. Like, how do you feel about carrying that?
I feel blessed, like favored and blessed, and I can't believe it. I wanted it. I wanted to be the poet laureate someday. I didn't think it would happen this soon. Carmen Tafoya created this office, this platform 8 years ago or so, and there's been 4 other poet laureates. I'm the 5th one in this tenure of poets. And to say that I don't have the formal education that any of them have, that I am also a woman, also African American, that all of those things combined is like, how the heck did she do it? You know, and I just always point up, I'm like, it ain't me. And I realized with coming into this office, it's not about me. And I think that's the people are kind of like, you know, and I'm like, I came up in an era, even though I'm a millennial, I came up in an era of, as a Black person, you carry the weight of all of your people with you when you go places. And all of the people who have loved me, all of the people who have struggled, died, sacrificed, I carry them with me. And I realize that, and it's part of where I draw my source from. It's something in the Bible, it's referred to as the cloud of witnesses, and we like to call it ancestors and spirit guides and things of that nature. You call it what you want to call it, but it's the idea of their blood flows through me, and I have to represent, and their strength is inside of me, and I know it is, and I just have utter faith. I have complete faith in that, because if I waver from that faith, then I will be lost and devastated, you know?
Mm. So you mentioned earlier one of the initiatives that you started for National Poetry Month, Invite to Write. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about like what initiatives you currently have and what you have planned, you know, for what's to come in your 2-year tenure as Poet Laureate?
Cool. So thank you so much. So what I'm doing right now is Invite to Write Essay and Invite to Write Essay Kids. Shout out to Rooster for making the banner for those. JR is helping me hold down the Invite to Write Kids page. He is coming up with prompts pretty much on a daily basis. And I was giving prompts too. And I was like, wait a minute, this man is bringing these prompts too. And I was like, let me just let him hold it down, and I'll just come in with prompts. I have some like on reserve, waiting to just dump into the page. And I've been teaching at a lot of different schools virtually this month. I've already taught like at least 3 classes this month. Advanced Learning Academy, Judson, and I'm teaching kindergartners tomorrow, y'all. I'm freaking out. Like, I'm like, Young Women's Leadership Academy. I'm like, first of all, they're not young women, they are babies.
They are children.
Women. They are nowhere near women. No. So I got to do that tomorrow. I don't know how to talk to kindergartners, but we're going to figure it out. And they want me to do a poem called Rosary Beads, which is like, I'm like, that poem is somewhat, it's not explicit in any manner, but it's very adult as far, and he's like, oh, they're very advanced young girls. And I'm like, what? They're babies. They're not going to understand what I'm talking about, but I'm going to do it anyway. And just, I'm glad to have some kind of influence in their life. So you can join these Facebook groups, and I post a prompt daily, and I have some hashtags associated with it. You can write the poems, you can do the hashtags. If you're ever just need a little bit more, you can always pop up in my inbox. And if I have time, I will definitely give other prompts or give a little guidance. I also am doing the My Tongue Is Challenge, which Dominique, if you want to, you're invited to join me. Even if you don't want to make a poster, I'll make it for you, but you can write if you want. Chibby's done it. Rooster's done it. I made Rooster's poem. I made Rooster's poster. Joy, I see Joy's in this. She's done it, and so yeah, y'all welcome to all do it. You just make a digital poster, 1 to 3 lines. The sentence starter is My Tongue Is. I have almost 250 poems, digital posters. Yeah, and they're from all over. Like Australia got involved in this because Bro J and oh gosh, some other poets, they've all joined. Ariel Cottingham. I was like, what is her name? Come on, Andrea, think.
So basically what you're saying is you are a global phenomenon.
Whatever, man. All I know
yes.
is I'm blessed to know people. It's people that kind of come into my path, come into my life. Like I had a homegirl in Atlanta that did it, and she has lots of friends. So when she posted it, all these Georgia poets started getting on it. Then I got a homie in Florida, he got involved, and then all these Florida poets. And it's just like these 1 degree of separation, or just kind of asking. And I've learned that in the past 1.5 years, just to start asking for what I want. And it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of guts to approach people and ask for something. Thank God for the internet and texting. You know, it makes it a little easier sometimes. But I've had to sometimes ask in person, and people are more willing to help you than you think. That's all I got for that.
Definitely. Oh, and everyone, I posted in the chat, so if you want to scroll up just a little bit, the link for the 18 and up Invite to Write group, so you can go ahead and copy and paste that and go ahead and join in, so you can see the prompts that she's been throwing up and that she will continue to throw up, I'm sure. and also just joining the community that she's building in that chat group. And thank you for that, Vocab.
You're welcome.
So let's talk a little bit about that community that you just mentioned, Dominique. So as you said earlier, Vocab, you know, like are an amalgam of different genres, you know. You did kind of like come up in the slam poetry scene, which is very performance heavy. You are an amazing page poet. You also sing and you R&B. So how do you navigate that, like bringing the literary and the performance communities together? Because I know there's often a split between the two, but you've managed to navigate the two.
Yeah, and I'm bringing all y'all suckers into all these worlds. There will no longer be this divide between the literary poets over there and everybody else over there in the performance world. I also want to shout out shout out Amalia Ortiz and Anthony Flores. They really, they were the first local poets that I saw do slam style poetry. They came to what was then Free Verse, and we did like this regional competition of Poro Slam and some other multimedia groups, and I can't remember, oh my gosh, all the names of these groups from like almost like 18 years ago, but they came and I was blown away by Anthony Flores. I mean, I'm sure you were blown away when y'all saw Anthony Flores the first time speak, and Amalia, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing, and I was like, I want to do what they're doing. And so a few months later, I started going to Poro Slam. But how do I bring these worlds together? I think in my own work, but also collaboration is my way of getting it done. I like to bring artists in from different worlds and ask them to do stuff with me. So, and doing projects with them. So like Amina Deshay, I have a group with her. I used to be in a multilingual hip hop group called Blend Phonetics. I've been in a reggae group before. I've been on slam teams, and I try to bring music into those things. And then I put on events where I'll bring in poets for some of it and musicians for other parts, and just, you know, see what happens. And I encourage people to talk to other folks. I'm like, go talk to these musicians, poets, go talk to them and see. And then I start getting in people's ear, planting seeds like, you know what you need? You need an album. Now go away. Now I come back a couple weeks later. Hey, have you thought about what I said about you doing an album? Yeah. You know what you could do? You could put some singing on there. You put some on there. If you need me, I'm here for you. And I just walk away and just, you know, do stuff like that.
And that idea of collaboration is so prevalent in your work. Like if you listen to your album, almost every song on there, you've got, you know, a feature of some sort, or you're like working with somebody else that's like, even though it's your solo album, you do such an amazing job of showcasing the talent of so many different people. So props to you for that one.
Thank you. And they're all here. That's the great thing about it, except for Adelaide. She's in London, which is a blessing that I got to. And I was supposed to go to London, but like that was right when all of the things that I don't want to mention right now was ramping up, and I just postponed my trip. And I was just like, I'm not going to be able to go over there because I'm going to get quarantined in another country. And although I would love to live in London, not under those circumstances, you know. Chibby's so cute. He's like, And shout out to y'all for this highlighter. I see y'all highlighters. Both
I mean, this is natural oily skin, okay?
It's doing something for you, though. That light is hitting you right. Get it, boo. I freaking miss y'all so much. This is ridiculous. I want to hug people. All I want, when this is over with, I'm hugging the hell out of everybody. You just know that these hugs are coming for your lives. Be ready. Be ready to receive this hug.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. I need some.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about that. You know, we had this later on in the conversation, but let's talk about that. What is the first thing we are doing when this shelter-in-place order is lifted? Like, what is the first thing on your agenda? What are you doing? Where are you going? Who are you seeing? Go.
Vainly, I'm going to get my nails done because they a wreck. They a whole mess, y'all. But after the nails, I am coming for whatever the first poetry. I feel like it's gonna happen right before a Monday, and it's gonna be the most epic blah of the universe. Like they gonna lift this band over a weekend, and they'll be like, come Monday night, you guys can go back into public spaces, and everybody gonna show up to blah on a Monday like Liddy, like you know. So I'm looking forward to probably we were talking about we were talking about doing a poetic block party, but I think we need to do a poetic block party, y'all. I think, and if we do performances, who cares about performances? But we need DJ Big Ant to get on the ones and twos, and we bring covered dishes, COVID-free covered dishes, and we need to just meet up and just chill and
just jam.
Yeah, and there needs to be a pool involved, so there's some chlorine. If somebody come in looking weird, throw them in the pool. Wash yourself. Wash yourself.
No. So you mentioned first thing you're gonna do is go get your nails, and then you're gonna see everybody. So what are you doing in the meantime? So do you have like a routine going? I know you mentioned missing everybody. We're all in this. One thing about the stay-in order is that we're all in it together, separately together. Yeah.
Separate equal. Equally sad, separate.
So how are you getting through this stay-in order? Have you built up a routine? You got any show or movie recommendations? How are you staying sane?
I've never been one to watch much TV. Right before everything was coming into place, I started watching a lot more like Cooking Network and HGTV, but shout out to Property Brothers.
Yo, that's my jam. I'm sorry. But I'm shamelessly addicted to HGTV. Except for House Hunters. Like, I can't get with that, like rich white people complain about the tiniest detail. We're not doing that. But everything else.
But to answer your question, I still work overnight. So 5 nights a week, I'm sitting inside of juvenile detention center, except for when I took off tonight. I ain't going to that job tonight. Bumped him tonight. But I still work 5 nights a week, and it's kind of scary going in there because the population that they're bringing in, some of them, we had a little boy that came in a few nights ago, and some of the people in his apartment complex had COVID-19, and so he came in a mask, and everybody was freaking out, like, what the hell, man? They got him out of there, though. Within a couple of hours, they sent that boy packing. So it's been hard to keep the population down. We've been trying to keep the population down, but we try to get them out of there as quickly as possible, except for the violent offenders. But anyways, aside from going to work, my parents have been coming over to my house, and they don't really tell us ahead of time. They're just coming over. Yeah, pretty much. So I've been spending a lot of time with I've seen my parents more in the past month than probably like a 6 month to a year time. My dad like every other day. I've been doing a lot of honestly, guys, y'all probably like, here she go with this again, but I'm gonna be real honest. Like, I pray a lot. I don't know how people make it through stuff like this without their faith. I pray a lot. I watch a lot of sermons. I'm asking God for some direction, because I feel like if we're going through this, it's because we were getting it wrong somehow, and the world needs to figure out what we're getting wrong, and we need to fix it. Because if we can fix it, then we don't have to repeat the same mistakes. I feel like in life, you're doomed to repeat the same mistakes if you don't change it up. And so I've been searching my own heart, like, God, what do I need to change about myself? How can I be more loving? How can I be more about my purpose? And even in this time, people, it's crazy how many people have been like, well, Vocab, can you write a poem? Can you do something, say something? What do you have to say about this? People are always looking for answers. We want answers. We respect other people's opinion. We always kind of have as individuals. And so I want to be responsible with what I say and intentional, and knowing that, you know, my words are speaking life into people and maybe making the difference. And we all need to just think about the fact that our words have power within them, which is the part of the My Tongue Challenge, was the idea of getting people to think about what their tongue is capable of producing, and speaking to the power of their own mouth, because we have what we say.
Mm-hmm. And you've always been,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
You've always been super conscious about how you affect those around you in your community, and I think you've always brought a very positive light to every stage and every space that you inhabit. So you definitely live what you speak. I want to segue a little bit, because you mentioned your job You work 5 nights a week at a juvenile detention center. Like, talk a little bit about that, because I don't think it's something that maybe a lot of people know. There are aspects of your life. They see the performer, the poet, the singer, but this is a significant part of your life. So how does that affect your work? How does that affect you? Like, tell us a little bit about that side of yourself.
Okay, sure. So I was talking to my friend Iman. Marco Polo is a great app, and I talked to my homeboy Iman on Marco Polo all the time, and I was telling him, a lot of people think of me, I'm going off of what other people say. I'm not talking about from my viewpoint. A lot of people are like, Vocab, why are you so humble? Why are you so, you do a lot and you're always downplaying, always back, and I was like, y'all got to understand that what I do for a living, I'm the most overlooked individual in the building. People walk past me, I'll be talking to them. They'll walk past me as if I did not speak. Maybe they can't even hear me. You can see me. People look at me all the time and just kind of disregard me. I'm, as far as the pay grade is concerned at juvenile, I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. I make more money than some people working there because I've worked there for years, but it's an entry level position. And I chose to stay in that entry level position because I knew that it gives me so much freedom. I have a computer, desk, internet, all of that at my disposal. I've written books and albums sitting at that desk. I've written curriculum sitting at that desk. So even though I'm a full-time employee of Juvenile Detention Center, Bexar County, I'm thinking about the art outside of those walls. And they've even hired me to come in through Gemini Inc. and do workshops with the kids there. So I think about people that come from lower income communities. I think about economic oppression and this divide between people based on skin color. And most of the children that come into juvenile detention center, they are brown and they are Black. And it doesn't, for African Americans, being that we're only 6 to 7% of the population of San Antonio, they make up a big portion of the inmates that come through, or the juvenile referrals that come through. They're not inmates because it's a detention center, not a prison, but it's a prison. I mean, let's get real. It's a kid prison. So, they make up such a big population there, and it's unfortunate. And we got to figure out a way to reach kids. So I'm very every night, it speaks more to my purpose of, you've got to figure out a way to connect to young people and reach them before these streets reach them, before drugs reach them, and this culture that just will destroy their life. And they'll never, because some of these kids, they don't see themselves becoming anything. All they know is this hood life, this trap life, and they about that, all the time. So one of the initiatives that I want to bring back, to circle back to one of your other questions, which I want to revitalize Youth Slam, helping JR and whomever wants to. We do need people that are committed, because it's going to take a lot of work, and I don't know who all is willing to put in the work. I know JR said he wants to, but we need some people to come in, and I will help as much as I can. We're in an interesting economic situation. A lot of city employees were just furloughed, which is very unfortunate. They just came out with these stories of the furloughing that's about to happen, but they're still keeping their benefits, but just they don't, so it's like, we don't know. I don't know if we're going to be able to get paid, but if I can find some city money to help pay the people that are running the Youth Slam, I will do that. But I want to help bring that back, because it needs to happen. Young people need something.
Oh, no, definitely. And then to go at a couple of things, because that was just a really all encompassing, you touched on so many important things in that answer. But one of the things that I had wanted to ask was, you mentioned that yes, African Americans do only make up 7%, 6 to 7%, depending on how it's fluctuating, of the population here in San Antonio. And you have so many plans and pending collaborations and initiatives that you want to enact. How do you feel about, in your role as Poet Laureate, and I guess having the confidence to address those, knowing that, you're the Poet Laureate of a city where most of the people living here can't physically see themselves in you? Do you feel like that's going to affect anything, or how have you thought about that already?
Yeah, I feel like whoever's heart is open, they will receive the messages that I have. I feel like as Poet Laureate, it's an elevated platform, but I feel like I will continue doing what I've been doing. And I don't, maybe some different opportunities will open up along the way, but I feel like anybody who has followed my work, they say, well, you are already doing it. And I honestly feel like I was already doing these works, because it's the role of it's simply to celebrate the literary arts, promote the literary arts, and create events. And that's what I do,
Yeah, you've been doing it for years.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stop doing it. If they give me a little extra money to help me do it, great. If they give me more press coverage because I'm gonna do it, great. But whether I got this position or not, it was like, I am going to do this work, and I'm going to try to create. When I write the pieces that I write, when I sing the songs that I write, sometimes I worry going in front of different crowds. I know I'm about to go in front of like this all white crowd and do this piece, and I'm always like, how are they going to be able to get with my hip hop rhymey, black girlness? And then I go in there and do stuff, and they're like, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I never know. Like, yeah, people love soul, and that's what I think they're connecting to. It's the soul. Like, I'm a soulful person. I come from, like I said, I come from a place of love and spirit, and I feel like because the desire is inside of me to connect, when I put it out there, I feel like people get that. They find themselves wanting to connect to it, even if it's something that's different out of their wheelhouse. I feel like they're open to it. So yeah, that's my answer to that. I think there's one to go back to, but I can't remember what it was right now, but it'll come back to me. Oh yeah, with My Tongue Is Challenge. I just want to say this real quick. So the My Tongue Is Challenge with all those digital posters, I've talked to the city. I've given them my proposal already, which they seemed excited about. They said that's what their exact words are. We're excited about your proposals. And I don't know what that means, if they really are or not, but I want to turn it into a digital gallery. And so there's a couple of galleries that I proposed to them that we can put them in, but I basically want to get some flat screen TVs and just run it like, a slideshow. And I would like to have a big art gallery opening where people can come and view these poems that they wrote while we're kind of in quarantine, stay home. So that's what I want to do.
Come through, poetry and technology.
Yeah.
Again, the intersections, like bringing it all together. Why keep it separate? I'm curious because like you talked on it earlier, like I'm a Gemini and that's why I can't just do one thing. What is your star sign?
I'm a Sagittarius, your polar opposite.
Hey.
All right. So we only got a couple of minutes left. Let's get into a quick lightning round. We got a couple of questions here on like your favorite or your best of things. So your favorite song.
Favorite song. Oh. Let's go with, oddly, The Carpenters. Why do birds suddenly appear whenever you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.
The irony. All right. Favorite of your songs that you've written and produced. So if like somebody out there needs to, what's your song?
Right now, my favorite song is String Me Along.
Ooh.
Off of this latest project. I put work into that song, guys. And I invited the guy that mastered my album. I invited him to do the talk box. And I was like, can you Kanye my joint? Can you T-Pain my joint? And he was like, what? I was like, come on, do the little box. You got the little box cord over there, the little plastic tube. I was like, I need you to Roger and Zap this joint. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
All right. And remember, all of her music is available on all streaming. So go check it out. Yes. And thank you, Lady Di. That song is Superstar by the Carpenters. So next question. Favorite gift that you've ever received or given?
Both. Go ahead and answer both.
Or both, yeah.
Scooby-Doo. Okay, so my favorite gift that I've received, my friend Tamara Adira made me this necklace with this black feathers, and I wear it to a lot of my photo shoots. I know people probably like, why don't you go and get another necklace to wear to your photo shoots? I love that necklace so much. It means a lot to me. She gave me that. My favorite gift that I've given? Oh man. You know, oddly funny story. My friend, she was going through I have my best friend Dulcie that lives in Houston area. She was going through some stuff one time, and I just surprised her and I mailed her a MAC lipstick. I bought a lipstick on MAC and had it shipped to her house. And that meant a lot to me because I love giving people cosmetics. It's just like a way.
I've given you many cosmetics over the years.
You have.
Yeah. You know, Z in the chat said the best gift you've given is your poetry to the world, and I'm gonna second that. All right, last one. Best advice you've ever received.
Best advice I've ever received. Pray. Final answer.
Pray to whoever or wherever, whatever you believe. All right. So thank you so much. This has been a phenomenal conversation. I think we've all grown and learned so much more about you and the amazing work that you do. If you would, please, can you close us out with one more poem or piece or work?
Oh, Jesus. Okay, here we go. Opening my book. Yeah, I should do that piece. Okay, let me find it. Okay. There must have been an angel by my side. Something heavenly led me to you. Look at the sky. It's the color of love. Hips, full lips, and soothsaying. Silken slip dress and slick back hair. Freckles and flesh. Every memory associated with your melody seduces me. The way you undress, sound slowly, and glide your voice into my earlobes. That is to say, I cannot stop listening because I am delighted by the sensations you cause. My heart holds no applause. My voice lauds with you. I shower you in praise. Sade adieu. Everything about you is on a pedestal in my mind. I can find no reasons to refrain. You braise my soul with your sauce. You tempt me to skinny dip in these emotions, and I could swim laps around your soulfulness. Your eyes are my personal lost and found. I rotate your track listing, body rolling my torso to your baselines. I close my eyes tightly, furrowed brow, folding like Venetian blinds, shutting out the sun. Your voice takes me dark. Let's embark on this mood together. My fingers snap along to the cadence. I am moaning for your moonlight. I am a bloodhound sniffing out the pureness of your residence in any room. When I pick up your scent, I am rent as the heavens like rain on a sunny day. I am an addict since every yesterday that comes before today. So on a Sunday, I sway. On a Monday, I await. On a Tuesday, I play. On Wednesday, I replay. On Thursdays, I sway. On Friday, I wait. On Saturday, all I can say is, look at the sky. It's the color of love.
Andrea Vocab Sanderson, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here today. You've been fantastic. So again, all her music is available on every streaming platform if you're interested in listening to it. We had it playing earlier before we started her latest album, but definitely go find it on iTunes, Spotify, or whatever streaming platform you choose. Pro tip, if you really want to support her because they get paid on listens, you can every night put her album on repeat and put the volume all the way down and go to sleep and just let it play so that she racks up that commission, girl. Come on. If somebody wants to find your book, where can somebody find that right now?
So they can get it off of Amazon, but if you want to maximize the support of my press, you can go to flowersongpress.com and pick up the book. Flowersongpress.
Press.com. So that is in the chat, flowersongpress.com. I totally hear you, because like with Amazon, like whenever somebody buys one of my books off of Amazon, I get like $2. So yeah, go directly to the publisher.
You know when you get the money. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, go directly to the publisher, flowersongpress.com. Her album's available on iTunes, Spotify, or any streaming platform. Or also, I'm putting this in the chat right now. As always, you can donate to Write Art Out, the nonprofit organization that puts on these events, and anything that you donate tonight is going to go directly to Andrea Vocab Sanderson to help her as a working artist. So please, that's in our Cash App. It is $ Write Art Out SA. That is correct. Thank you so much also to our co-host this evening, Dominique. Wherever you went, thank you so much. We love you. And thank you for bringing a different voice. Snap, 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 snap.
She's so cute. You were the cutest thing.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you to hosting me, the two of you. Y'all asked amazing questions. Y'all have been wonderful, heartwarming hosts. Y'all gave me warm fuzzies for the past hour. So I thank you so much. And thanks to everyone who attended. Y'all are beautiful human beings. Even though I can't see your faces, I love you so much. Know that I love you and that I'm praying for you. And then we gonna come out of this thing and party.
All right. So Andrea Vocab Sanderson, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Next week, we'll be coming back on Thursday with Vincent Cooper. Vincent Cooper is joining us next week here for another edition of the Block Poetry Spot Presents Words and Shit. So please come back and join us. Thank you to everybody that has joined us, and we will see you next week. I am going to leave you with just a few minutes of Andrea Vocab Sanderson's album. I forgot what we were listening to when we started, but we just gonna keep it on. She gonna string me along, y'all. Go stream her album. Thank you so much. My name is Chibbi. Good night.